All right, let's dive straight into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to unpack a total masterclass in cinematic, edge of your seat storytelling. And let me tell you, if you are a fan of narratives that just grab you by the collar and drop you right into the middle of a gripping mystery, you are going to absolutely love this one. We're going to break down the exact structural beats of this story to show you exactly how it builds tension so flawlessly that you physically cannot look away. So let's not waste any time, let's get into it. So our story kicks off by dropping us instantly into a super specific, moody atmosphere. Picture this. You've got a young man named Daniel. He's just heading home late at night after a totally brutal, exhausting day. All he wants in the world is his bed. But as he's walking down this cold, isolated street, well, look at the sensory details here. There's a flickering streetlight casting these long, creepy shadows. And sitting right underneath it, entirely alone on a bench, is an old man. Just a complete stranger waiting in the dark. As an audience, boom, our guard is instantly up. You can practically feel the chill in the air and that immediate, creeping sense of isolation. And then, out of nowhere, the silence shatters. Daniel is just trying to walk past, minding his own business, right? When this old man suddenly locks eyes with him and drops four incredibly abrupt words. "You finally came back." This is that crucial, ultra-strong opening hook, hitting within the first 10 seconds of the story. I mean, imagine the sheer impact of that. It plays out almost like a jump scare in a movie. Daniel just freezes. He's utterly confused, searching his brain, staring at this guy's deeply lined face under the flickering light, but nothing. He draws a total blank. He has literally never seen this man before in his life. Now, to really crank up the psychological tension, the old man doesn't just leave it at some vague, cryptic greeting. Oh no. He proceeds to casually speak Daniel's full name. And then he leans in and recalls a highly specific, deeply hidden memory from Daniel's childhood. And here is what makes this so absolutely terrifying. This memory, it's a closely guarded secret. It belongs to nobody outside of his immediate family. So that initial confusion Daniel felt, it's gone. Now it's just pure rising panic. This total stranger is suddenly armed with intimate details that should be physically impossible for him to know. It is a perfect escalation of tension. At this point, Daniel is genuinely freaking out. He takes a step back, his heart is pounding out of his chest, and he asks the one desperate question we are all screaming at the screen. Who are you? But here is where the story gives us a masterclass in using silence as a weapon. The tension just skyrockets here because the old man doesn't answer. He just stubbornly, silently refuses to speak. He just sits there watching Daniel, letting that agonizing question hang heavy in the cold night air. So instead of offering any sort of comforting explanation, the stranger slowly reaches into his heavy coat, and he pulls out a physical object. It's an old, tightly sealed envelope, and he just holds it out, passing it directly to Daniel. This right here, this is such a brilliant narrative device. In storytelling, we often call this a MacGuffin, because suddenly the mystery isn't just some weird, abstract conversation anymore, you know? It's tangible, you can feel the weight of it. By passing off this physical object, the stranger is basically forcing our protagonist to carry the mystery home with him. He's dropping the plot right into Daniel's trembling hands. As Daniel takes this worn paper into his hands, the old man hits him with this chilling directive. He says, "Open this when you are ready to know the truth." Notice what that does to the dynamic. It instantly sets up a massive psychological barrier. The stranger isn't just forcing the information on him. He's giving Daniel the choice. He has to choose to open it, which honestly somehow makes it way more terrifying. Daniel just clutches the envelope, way too scared to rip it open right there in the dark, and practically runs back to his house, checking over his shoulder the entire way. And this brings us to an agonizing passage of time that showcases the golden rule of gradually increasing tension. We see a progression. Late at night, Daniel's just pacing his apartment, staring at this unopened envelope on the table, completely paralyzed. By midnight, the exhaustion and the pure psychological toll start cracking his defenses. Strange, buried memories from his childhood start bubbling up to the surface. It's just a long, intense night of building paranoia. Finally, sunlight breaks through the windows in the morning, and the sheer crushing weight of not knowing is just too much. Daniel finally breaks the seal. But inside, there's no letter. There's no long written confession. It's just an old photograph of Daniel as a very young child. But he's not alone in the frame. He's standing right next to a woman, and the deeply unsettling detail here is that Daniel barely even remembers her. Think about how haunting that is. It's a half memory, this faded ghost from his past captured on glossy paper. He's just staring at this woman's face, trying to place her, trying to figure out why on earth that creepy guy on the bench had this specific photo. And then Daniel flips the photograph over. Written on the back, in handwriting he recognizes instantly, is a message. It says, "If you ever meet this man, listen to everything he tells you." The handwriting belongs to his own mother. Talk about a bombshell. This moment fundamentally shifts the entire axis of the story. Suddenly, the mystery is no longer just about some random stalker on the street. No, the call is coming from inside the house. His mother knew this man. She anticipated this. She prepared for this exact moment. Driven by this sudden, desperate need for answers, Daniel snaps into action. The narrative dictates no unnecessary fluff, and this sequence honors that perfectly. Daniel sprints right back out to the street bench where this all started, only to find the stranger is totally gone. Poof. But Daniel doesn't give up. He starts frantically scouring the surrounding neighborhood, checking every alley, every shadow. And this direct, logical progression of his search eventually leads him right up to the steps of a nearby, seemingly abandoned house. It's fast-paced, and it's driving us straight toward the climax. So Daniel breaks into this abandoned house, stepping out of the daylight into this dusty, eerie silence. But the place isn't empty. The walls, the tables, they are absolutely covered in dozens of old photographs and yellowed newspaper clippings. It is literally a secret, terrifying shrine. And every single piece of evidence in that room is entirely about his family. Someone has been watching them. Someone has been obsessively documenting their every move from the shadows of this rotting house for years. Okay, so all of these deeply unsettling clues are funneling us directly to what we call in storytelling the major twist, right? A radical, totally unexpected change in the direction of the narrative. All the evidence in that creepy house, the obsessive photos, the clippings, they all point to one singular, massive revelation that is about to entirely recontextualize everything we thought we knew about that old man under the streetlight. See, Daniel's entire life was built on a foundational lie. He was always told his father died before he was even born. End of story, tragic, but closed. But the evidence in this house reveals the shocking truth. That mysterious old man, the one who knew his secret memory, the one who handed him the envelope, that was his father. He didn't die. He disappeared years ago, faking his own death to protect Daniel and his mother from some deeply dangerous, unspecified threat. This twist is just brilliant because it instantly flips the antagonist into a protector, completely shifting our emotional alignment in the blink of an eye. But here's the thing about the best twists. They don't just neatly solve a mystery. They rip open a brand new, even deeper psychological wound. While we now know who the stranger is, it brings up a massive question. Why did his mother hide the truth all these years? Was she actually a protector, shielding him from a dangerous man and a dark past? Or was she a deceiver? Has she just been lying to him for his entire life about the most fundamental aspect of his identity? The ground beneath Daniel's feet has completely vanished. Now, at this critical moment, the story pulls off a crucial pacing shift. It intentionally slows down the action right before the final hook to really maximize the emotional punch. Daniel is emotionally exhausted. He's reeling from this massive revelation. He leaves the abandoned house and makes the slow, heavy walk back to his apartment, just trying to process the sheer weight of knowing his father is alive. But as he walks up to his front door, he stops dead in his tracks. Resting perfectly in the silence, waiting for him on the mat, is another envelope. He slowly picks it up. It looks exactly like the first one, but there's no photograph inside this time. Written perfectly clearly on the outside of the envelope are just 4 chilling words. Your mother lied to. I mean, wow, it is a perfect hook. We just solved one massive mystery, only to get hit with a final, devastating betrayal that leaves us absolutely desperate to know what happens next. So whether you are a creator yourself or just a massive fan of suspense, ask yourself this. How can you use these exact same mechanics, the tangible clues, the shifting alliances, the strategic cliffhanger, to craft a narrative that completely captivates your own audience?